This to me was more of a like, hey man, we're fucking normal people like you guys are.
This is Big B telling you to listen to Top's Daily Grind.
It doesn't matter what skill set you have, what experience level you have. You can be fucking Delta Force SWAT Team Operator 6, SAS guy.
Actually, in Colombia, they call me Rambita.
I'm your host, Aaron. I got a couple jokers with me here today.
I'm not fucked up. I'm drunk. And then when I'm done with that, I put Vaseline, actually, around the edges. Just ordered somebody. All right, everyone, welcome to Top's Daily Grind. This is episode number 103. Correct?
Yes, sir.
103. And we have Ben Pancheri, not Pancheri, from
I would have said
Bad
Pancheri.
Company Outdoors.
Dude, I get that all the time. That's how I know when telemarketers call me.
Mr. Pancheri?
Yeah, because they can never pronounce it.
Because they're probably from India.
What do they say?
Pancheri.
No.
Do they roll their R's in India? I don't even know.
I'm not
Is
sure.
that a thing?
I don't want to even speculate because I don't want to get in trouble.
Why not? We're just talking about the language.
I know.
Do they roll the R's or not?
Yeah, they do.
What's the worst somebody
I think so.
screwed up your last name?
I had one at a doctor's office that dang near came out like something along pancreas, but it wasn't. I don't remember. She was pancreas, and then she was like trying to read it, and then it was Pancheri, and then it was.
It's funny because when I see the street, I always just automatically say Pancheri. But when I first saw your name, I was like, Pancheri. I was like still pronouncing it weird. And then Dylan's like, it's Pancheri. I'm like,
I've kind of wondered that too, like my whole life, because no one has a problem with the street, and then when they meet me, it's
yeah, you just lose
and
it.
that street's named after my great grandpa. So
Legit? For real?
yeah,
Really?
yep.
All right, introduce them.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
did. This is Ben Pancheri from Bad Company Outdoors.
Nice.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to Leo, Dylan, and Craig were on his podcast, so if you haven't checked that out, make sure to
episode
check it out.
6.
It's episode 6.
That was a fun episode too.
It was fun. Yeah. So Ben, tell us a little bit about what you do and you know how you started this Bad Company Outdoors.
I don't know. It's I that's all I can say at this point is I don't know. Bad Company Outdoors was probably a dream, a daydream, something that I've wanted to do forever and ever and ever. And when I was younger, I just probably didn't know how to go about it. And so I don't know. About 2 years ago here, I made a serious change in life, just with everything. Health. I was a smoker. No offense.
Still healthy as fuck.
No, I've been smoking for 17 years. I was trying to do a lot of backcountry hunting, and I just kind of wasn't where I wanted to be, in shape, physically, mentally. Had to make some changes, and I did. And it took me 6 months to do it or so. But after I made those changes, I was full of ambition, man. And so
Just want to get it
I
done,
just
huh?
thought there's no better time than now. And it was one of those cheesy fucking deals where every quote you read, it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger's quote, you can have excuses or results, not both. That might have had that backwards, but I'd keep reading stuff like that, and it just every day it just stuck out to me. It's like, man, I got to get this done.
Were you following like a bunch of
Motivational accounts?
ladies at that time, like college age girls? No. You know how that's all they post is just like inspirational quotes and stuff.
No, that's like maybe that's not inspirational quotes. That's like that's like how to do your makeup, how to make your lipstick not smear.
I'm just saying most of the
Not
time.
Not only that, I want to know how you know that they post all the inspirational quotes and shit all the time.
That's common knowledge.
No, it's because you follow them.
It's a thing.
Not.
Yes,
you
it
had
is.
any idea about that until he said something?
It's a thing.
Because I did.
It's a thing.
I don't follow too many.
Yeah, Dylan's not a
college
good
chicks.
person to ask that.
Really?
It's a thing where everybody knows that like girls who are the most depressed are the ones posting like inspirational stuff all the time.
Dude.
Because
Because they're trying like hell to just not be depressed.
yeah.
So, hold on.
Which is cool.
Before I continue with this story, I have to point something out. Because everybody needs to go listen to episode 6 of my podcast now, just because we kind of pick Craig apart in there because he's left-handed and he's kind of like the Bill Nye of the group.
Well, that's Nick. That's Nick.
Just because he has a lab coat doesn't mean he's a fucking.
At one point in time, I was
joke,
like,
everyone.
I basically was like, dude, you're left-handed. Why are you even here? Like,
You should be president.
I almost left.
You should be president.
Isn't like 80% of the presidents left-handed?
I don't know if it's that high, but
it's
but
high. It's
a
up
good-
there.
That's a really weird.
So you're trying to
statistic.
tell him like take my job?
Not your no.
Because
Well, you're not-
I'll quit.
Not president. You're not president.
You're owner.
I'm fucking ready.
You're owner. You're owner. That's,
Leo, he's ready to go to. He's ready to go to silent partner. Just,
did he tell you he was gonna be mayor of Yukon?
no,
We're gonna
Yeah,
be
he's
married.
gonna run for mayor.
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
dude, I would. Why not? No, anyway, back to it. I mean,
Sorry.
it's
Sorry.
like I finally just, it was like the time is now.
So
And
pretty
I-
much you kept getting little hints no matter what you did. That you
yeah,
had
and
to go.
I've always been. I mean, not trying to have a big head myself, but I've always been that type of person that's creative, right? I got ideas. Just my wife gets mad at me because my brain never shuts off, and sometimes it's random shit. Most of it's centered around the outdoors, like this stove thing. I mean, it was like I saw a hole in the market, right? Or the meal deal that we'll talk about. I saw a hole in the market, and the outdoor thing as a whole. I mean, I want to promote it. It's something that.
Especially being here in Idaho, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
fucking
and
everybody comes here to go hunting.
And that's the thing is like we I guess tend to take that kind of stuff for granted, as cheesy as it sounds. But it's the more I started thinking about it with my kids, and like now I've gotten to mentor some first time hunters, including my own wife. And so having those experiences in the outdoors, whether it's hunting or hiking or whatever, it's just like, man, if I can help anybody realize what this is about for me and what it can be about for them, then I'm all about it. I mean,
That's badass.
and it's been.
Are you doing this full time right now, or you still got a job? and
I
then
still got a
still-
full time job,
Nice.
and my goal, man, I'm even goal oriented now. Like I got a whiteboard to write shit down on. But my goal right
Badass.
now, I can honestly say this on air, like my goal is within a year to be full time of doing the outdoor company.
And by
I don't
doing
think you can call it a whiteboard anymore.
So what is your you can what
No,
is,
you're supposed to call it. He can't. God, you can. But it's a dry erase board.
Dude, there are so many things. Like, I'm so not used to being on this podcast. It's like, so I want to respond to things, and I'm like, you know what? I better not say that shit. But obviously, you guys don't care.
Say it. Just say it.
yeah, just say whatever's on your mind. It's better that way.
fuck you.
Well, I was gonna be. So, I mean, would you rather have Caucasian board
No,
or
it's a dry erase board.
No, it's a whiteboard.
No,
pale
you can't call it
board?
a whiteboard anymore.
It's a whiteboard because they have blackboards too.
No, you can't call it a blackboard either.
yes, you
It's a
can.
chalkboard.
It's the chalkboard.
What are you supposed to call it then?
Sometimes they're green.
They're mostly green.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
it's
can't
like-
call it a.
It's like 70-30.
So it's a chalkboard. You can't call it a blackboard.
You can. It's a green board too. And so what?
Well, I mean, I'm kidding. Obviously, continue.
Okay, I was trying to ask. So, what is your company? What is Bad Company? Like, what do you do? Like, what is it? Like, is it? Do you design things? Is it like a?
Yes.
So like everything.
Dude, it's a holistic approach on the outdoors. It's started out as the podcast and starting to make content, and I was gonna try and roll with that for a while, and then my wife and everybody who was supporting me was just like, man, these other ideas that you got, let's go. From making outdoor products to promoting other people's stuff that I use, just like you fellers. I mean, stuff that I use that comes in handy for me that I want other people to know about. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to promote the outdoors as a whole, everybody else's companies too, not just mine.
So it's starting to branch out into other.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now we're doing, like I said, everything from apparel to metal fab to freeze dried meals. I mean, it's all over the board.
Yeah, the freeze dried meals. You gave me a couple of them, and I can't wait to try them. And I've been fixing up my Ranger. Didn't plan on it.
Snuggle up, big boy.
Better. Come on over. There you go.
Didn't plan on fucking like rigging it out the way it's coming out, but it's turning out pretty badass. For something you can hop on and just fucking get in there, and but putting some of those meals in there, and going up fucking fishing, and not worry about taking food, that'd be pretty badass.
That's a big part of it, and that's what I mean. Just like everybody else, that's what turned me onto it at first. Was lightweight, easy. Don't have to worry about anything. Add boiling water, you can eat. But then you'll figure out if you do some research that a lot of these meals aren't the healthiest thing in the world. And so that's been part of my change with myself, is trying to keep that healthier diet. And not only that, in the backcountry, like we do on foot, you burn a shit ton of calories. Like when we went into the Frank Church last year, I was wearing my Garmin watch, and on the way in, it's 16 miles in one way, and I think my watch said I burned like 6,200 calories that day going in.
Jesus.
And my diet was based on 3,200 calories a day intake. So obviously you got a massive calorie deficit there, right? Which you can't pack for 6,000 calories a day. You just can't. Like it'd be so much shit to carry. But these meals are really concentrated on being calorie dense. They're not low fat because fat won't kill you. It's actually how your brain functions and everything else, when it comes to cognitive function and your eyes and all this stuff. I mean, so they're not low fat. They're not gluten free. In fact, the ramen I gave you, that's made with an authentic ramen noodle that's a high gluten, like a wheat noodle. And in my opinion, gluten has its own benefits, right? I'm not a gluten-free freak. And I'd love to say they're non-GMO, but they're not. Because if I went non-GMO, I'd be going against everything that I grew up with around here, supporting local products. And I mean, because we're sourcing as much of this stuff close to home as we can, right? But that's the thing behind the meals, is being calorie-rich, super healthy, and doesn't taste like you're chewing on the bill of that hat right there.
So what's one of the things that, I guess, aside from gluten, for example, most of the other companies doing this, are they trying to leave the gluten out?
It's a trendy thing. You tell me.
It's
The
the
commercials,
I don't know.
Think about the commercials you see on TV, or when you walk down the aisle and look at boxes of cereal now, or certain kinds of bread or whatever. That gluten-free stamp
Right.
is on everything.
It's
Yeah,
just
but
another
so,
way
like,
to sell more.
I mean
more
specifically for
Marketing
survival
ploy.
type foods is what I'm asking.
No, I don't think that. Not for your survivalists or your the word just left my mind. Like your doomsday preppers and stuff like that. I mean, and those kind of companies, they don't give a shit. In fact, I just had a buddy call me a couple days ago and was like, "Well, dude, you were telling me about your meals and they're going to cost this much. Well, I can buy these meals on Amazon for a third of the cost." And I'm like, "Yeah, but what's in them?" "Oh, I don't know. I don't care." And he's not
should
wrong.
care.
You have to look at it this way. In a doomsday prepper type situation, am I going to give a shit what's in them? No.
As long as you're getting some calories,
Exactly.
Probably, yeah.
I mean,
some compared to none
At
is
that
better.
point, you're eating to survive, right? So there may be some things in there that mentally I don't agree with eating, but I'm going to eat them because I got to.
That's what you have. Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's
in the
not-
same vein, that's the reason to get the more calorie dense and the one that's got more in it.
I completely agree
and-
with you. I'd rather live the healthiest lifestyle I could. But these guys that are doomsday prepping, I don't blame them. They can literally probably buy 2 or 3 times the food for the same amount of money and store it away somewhere. And I understand it. And that's not the market I'm chasing. When we get through all this FDA stuff and whatever, I'm hoping to have, honestly, if I had a 2-year shelf life or even a 5-year shelf life instead of 30, like Mountain House and some of your other bigger, Wise Foods, I'd be happy because it's, like I said, I'm not the guy shooting for the doomsday and the 30 years from now. I'm expecting these meals to be eaten out fishing or camping or in the backcountry, all the time and getting cycled through.
Yeah, if you're pushing it towards that, I think there's a different mentality there.
Oh yeah.
Like for me, I'll pack up fucking 3-4 of those and gone. Instead of fucking going to the grocery store and getting fucking sandwich bread and getting fucking this and getting, just 3-4 of those.
Yeah,
and
but you're gonna
go.
take a grill. You're gonna.
No,
You're
but
gonna
I'm
take a
saying
whole cow with you practically.
If you get those meals though, and he sort of pushes it towards that.
Yeah, more of a pack meal than a
and to your point,
storage.
this is a holistic meal, right? Like you just cut the grill out of it. Now he doesn't have to take the grill. He can take
he just likes to.
he can take an MSR
This
camp stove or
motherfucker's
whatever.
talking shit.
I am. Oh yeah.
I'm sticking up for you.
Because this dude, he likes cooking out
do,
there. Like
I
that's
do.
one of his favorite things.
No,
is cooking
and
in the
I do
woods.
too. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy cooking in the backcountry. It's one of my favorite things to do. But on a day when it's just like, on an afternoon, or maybe it's a morning and your kids
Or
are
a
sitting
fucking
around
Sunday
and you're like,
morning,
hey,
you don't want to do shit.
yeah, and it's like,
You
Dad,
just
let's
wanna
go
get
for
out.
a ride, and you think, I might end up being out all day. You grab 3 or 4 of these meals, chuck them in there. You got an MSR stove or whatever, and you got a bunch of water with you. It's easy. I mean,
Well,
it just
and like the hike in, like 16 miles in, you're not going to sit down and cook a full meal.
no.
Fuck
No,
that.
I like that. The way
No,
that we.
but I am actually designing things based around what you just
like
said.
that kind of idea.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even mind talking about that either. I'm actually in the process of developing a recipe for, I'm not going to call it a bar because everybody calls their stuff bars,
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be associated with the candy or the protein bar world. But I'm working on a recipe right now for a freeze-dried bar that's going to be exactly that.
A cylinder.
You what?
Call it a cylinder.
Call it a cylinder,
Make it round, like a flat bar, like a gold bar.
Make it round instead of.
Yeah, make it round. Make it round so you don't have to call it a bar.
You could add ribs to it as well.
It's. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Make it a circle with a centerpiece cut out. Call it a donut.
It'll be round. It'll kind of resemble a dick, sort of.
Oh shit!
I thought that's where you were going, Jesus.
No,
shit.
I was just saying
instead
the
of calling
cylinder,
it a
so
bar,
it's not a
call it a
bar, just a
cylinder,
cylinder.
No, but anyway.
Because then I would have said shaft, and that would have been gross.
I didn't say shaft either.
Well, fair enough.
No, but a super holistic approach to something that you don't even have to cook, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm talking like a serving of greens, like powdered greens, powdered reds, collagen protein. Like this thing will be all inclusive, right? Some whey protein. This is a meal in a bar, and it's going to weigh absolutely nothing. And it'll be, instead of being in those packages like you have, it'll actually be packaged in a chamber sealer. So it'll push all the air out of it. So you'll just see that bar shape, But I mean,
Vacuum-sealed.
minimum space, super lightweight because there's no moisture in it. It's probably going to be crunchy. You don't have a choice when it's freeze dried, And so it's not going to be the most like.
It's not going to be fun to eat.
Well, it's not going to be comfort food.
Right.
But for a guy like me, just like what you just said, or anybody on the go, when you're out deer hunting one day and you're like, damn it, I'm freaking hungry. I got to have some calories. I got to keep pushing. You can sit down and eat this in 2 minutes. No water, no nothing. Get going. I mean,
Right.
easy to get to. So, I mean, those are the kind of ideas that go around in my head all the time,
Yeah.
It's
So you're not targeting preppers. You're not targeting food storage. You're targeting people who are actually out there. Doing
out there.
something.
And want to be out there a lot. That's
not like
my goal
yeah,
is
yeah.
to make it easier and healthier to get outside and pack that food with you in your backpack or whatever. I mean, even just day fishing trips and any shit like that, And we've got 6 finalized recipes right now. We have 10 recipes total. We just haven't finished developing the other 4. But I mean, some different flavors that kind of aren't out there, just like the authentic ramen deal, right? I mean, that one's legit, dude. It's one of my favorites, and it's like it's filling. It tastes damn good, and it's just like when you're done with it, you feel like you sat down at a ramen restaurant and had ramen, but you're sitting somewhere with a view. I mean, I like that feeling. A hot meal, especially on a cold day, wind's blowing on top of a ridge or whatever, and you get to eat that type of a meal, and knowing that it's no preservatives. I mean, knowing that it's good for you. For me, that's a good feeling anyway. It's like, man, I could eat this shit every day. And I do. My wife we're developing them all right, and she gets mad at me because I have a hard time staying out of them. I eat them at home.
So that's one of the questions I was going to ask actually is about the taste. Because it's one of those things where it seems like they do try to make them taste good, but for whatever reason, they usually don't. Is that pretty high, like on your list of things when you're developing this? Is like I do.
Oh,
want
absolutely.
It to taste?
That's one of the top 3 things on my list.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, flavor is everything because I don't like. I mean, there's been a bunch of them that I don't especially like eating, and don't get me wrong, I'm the type of guy that if I need calories in the backcountry, it's like whatever, I'm gonna eat it anyway,
Right.
But I didn't really enjoy it. Well, how do you feel when you, like I said, when you sit down and enjoy a meal, and then you're like, damn, that was good, Plus, I'm sitting here doing what I want to do, and it's a way more fulfilling part of your day.
Correct.
And so that's what I'm after. And taste is everything. For instance, biscuits and gravy. Every freeze-dried company out there right now has a biscuits and gravy, right? Mm-hmm. I hate them all.
Yeah.
And the reason being is, I'm not going to say why yet, but the reason being is they're not like biscuits and gravy. They're like soup. Because everything's all in one, and you put your water in, and it's like, pull it out of there with a spoon, and it's,
Porridge.
Just mush.
kind of, yeah. Sloppy Joe, flop it on the plate, and it's,
And plus, like a lot of what goes into taste is texture and smell.
Yeah, exactly. And so all I'm going to say right now is our biscuits and gravy is not like that. Our biscuits and gravy is straight up legit biscuits and gravy. And when I've got that one done, I'll show you. I bet you guys will just die over that one because everybody has so far. It's fantastic.
John's over here slobbering, foaming at the mouth.
You biscuits and gravy fan? Nice.
Yeah.
So
You can bring up any food, and John will be.
So your stove, this is the first time that I pick up one of them wall tents. I go out, but we usually go out, and I'll stay in the camp for 1 or 2 days, and I'm back at work.
Yep.
Really don't take days off. So, I picked up a wall tent this last
Couple months ago.
Probably a month or two ago, yeah.
And so my next thing is to get like one of them stoves that go inside it. Boy,
do I got a deal for you.
Yeah, see,
because that's actually what my stoves are being developed for is setups like that. I'm a gear junkie, and so I do everything from the minimalist. I have the super small MSR stove setups and all that kind of stuff, or I'm like you, and I have a big wall tent. I have a 12 by 20 Cabela's.
That's what we got.
I think
that Cabela's a Lacnac, and that's a big tent. It's a synthetic tent. It's not canvas, but it's huge. My buddy Bo Beatty, he's selling a new line of canvas tents under the name Wilderness Ridge that is a badass, like a 7mm canvas, totally different design than anybody else. I tested it in the Frank Church last year. It was badass. I mean, it's the coolest tent I've ever used, right? These stoves are more developed around that, around more of a base camp setup. But what I hated is there's some other companies out there that they have really good stoves, and they hold a flat top even under a lot of heat, which is something you guys don't understand with your heat treating and everything else. That's one of the biggest problems with some of the stoves out there is they're so lightweight and they're made flimsy enough, right? They do a good job of heating a tent, but if you're the type of guy that's going to cook on the stove, like my buddy Bo does, or like I do, or several other people that I know, if that stove warps, you go to slide your pan down on that stove and it doesn't heat even at all. You can see it in a frying pan where it's like it's hotter than shit here, and the rest of your pan's cold because you're sitting on that one hot spot on the stove, right? There is some stoves out there that do a really good job for cooking, but they're not takedown. And that's why they do a good job of cooking is because they don't come apart. Well, consequently, you got a stove this fucking big, that if you're going in with llamas, it takes up an entire pannier. If you're going in with horses, it takes up half a pannier, I mean, can't get them in a backpack type of deal because that's all you'll get in your backpack. And I didn't like that. I thought to myself, I've always been kind of a metal fab guy and whatever, and I thought, man, there's got to be a way to build a takedown stove that at least comes apart into pieces, goes into a nice bag, And so I've done just that. I've tested a prototype now that I've done my own thing with the top and the bottom. It's got a double bottom, so it won't burn through the bottom of the stove. It's got some special made stiffeners in it. I'm lighter than most of your stoves on the market that don't tear down, which is great. And so far, I'm just as strong. I mean, even with a blazing ass hot fire in there, I've been able to lay straight edges on it. And for the cooking surface part of it, for the first 12, 16 inches, whatever it happens to be, staying flat, comes down into 6 pieces plus the stovepipe, lays down flat in a bag about this big. And it weighs, right now I'm a main competitor that I really don't want to mention the name because I really like the people. I have some of their shit, but the main competitor that I would say I'm competing against, I mean, I'm almost 4 pounds lighter than their stove too, which whether you're packing with animals or whatever, I mean, that all counts.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you know, I'm lighter. I'm just as strong. I mean, I can put that thing together and I can stand on it myself. So it'll hold me up.
Damn, that's pretty cool.
And
I can't wait to check those out.
I have my own draft system. I mean, the way it's pulling air through the stove, it's really hard to control air through other stoves that are out there because they're not very sealed up. So they pull air through every crack and crevice there is on the stove, right? So you shut that vent all the way down, expecting to slow your fire down, kind of shut it off, you know, and it can't.
Doesn't. Yeah,
because it's just pulling air everywhere. And so I figured out how to seal up my stoves and force it to go through the front, through my vent, and draft up out, which also at higher altitudes actually makes them burn better because there's less oxygen. You have trouble making them draft good, and mine drafts like I can put my hand in front of the vent on my door and I can feel it pulling air in. Like,
oh damn.
It's turned out really, really well. I got a few more things to tweak before I officially release it, but it's been really cool. And so like for your wall tent, I mean, we got to work something out there just because you'll like this. Depending on how big the tent is, I'm going to make one size.
It's the same as it's a 12 by 20.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one I have right now is like 13 by 13 by 22. And it would heat that tent pretty well. I'm gonna make one size bigger with a 5-inch chimney instead of a 4. It'll be my only size with a 5-inch chimney, and that's like in all reality, that's the one you'd want probably for a tent that big.
Yeah, that's badass. Yeah, I can't wait to check those out.
Yeah, it works good. I'm really happy with it, and I mean, since we did the podcast and stuff, I mean, I forgot to bring it. I'm super disappointed. You can ask my wife because I have it on a piece of poster board, but
it's on the whiteboard.
Nope. Poster board.
Dry erase.
Poster board.
But
poster board, okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, the pale board. I drew it up on the pale board.
But he's not talking about a whiteboard. He's talking about poster board. It's a completely different thing.
Hey, but it is white. It just so happens that it is white poster board. So. No,
of course it is.
But I mean, I actually drew
the best color.
I actually drew a prototype
for that kind of stuff. You gotta make it like
paper products.
Yeah.
You know that's true
because it's it has the most contrast. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I actually drew up a prototype axe / splitter / hammer on the other side that I really want you guys to look at. So like I said, that's what my mind does, man. It just I look at things and I'm like, dude, there needs to be something built just like this that covers, you know, multiple jobs at once. And you guys actually already have I think you guys call it a hatchet. That's like pretty much the base design of what I want to do, but longer handle, hammer end on the I'll show you. Be badass.
Yeah, hell yeah. Stop by with it and we'll check it out.
But it's, you know, it's that kind of stuff. I'm not putting any restrictions on where my company goes or the type of stuff that I do with it. The food thing will be a huge concentration. The stove thing, there's a hole there to fill, but I'm not going to tell you. I mean, it's not like a nationwide type, you know. I mean, it's a niche market.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could have sold a bunch of them already if I had them done in the situation that I'm in right now. I mean, it's there, but as far as from here on out, I mean, you know, I think I told you guys on my podcast where, you know, I would like to sell some of your guys' stuff on my website in the future as my website gains traction. I mean, it's stuff like I said, I want to sell other people's stuff. I want to promote other people's stuff. If it works well for me, I want to get it out there. And I've put no restrictions on myself or my company on. I mean, I don't think we're gonna make like G-strings and elephant speedos, but
who knows? Maybe they're starting to go
tactical.
Out.
John's out.
So it's cool when you see people that are really good at doing, like, for example, you doing outdoor stuff like that and testing products so that they can eliminate the stuff that's just garbage. Because there's a lot of people that promote, like, whatever a company pays them to promote, they promote. They don't even know the product.
Right.
So it's cool to have somebody that actually takes the time, tries it, and if it's good, then go ahead and promote and try to work with them. And kind of eliminates like some of the stuff that's no good.
So I've had some people test some of my stuff already that we'll just say that have a presence in both of the outdoor industry and the social media world, you know. And I kind of handpicked these people thinking I think these are pretty genuine dudes, you know. I think they'll give me honest feedback, and they did. And not all of it was positive. I mean, everybody's going to run into those hurdles and stuff,
and that's
right?
what you want when something like that happens.
That's the thing,
that's
though.
Exactly what you want.
I was actually excited to get that negative feedback back because it's like, you know, damn, I might not have noticed this before or whatever. Because you put your heart and soul into developing a product, you know, and then it's somebody opens your eyes to like one obvious press, like, oh shit, you know, I should have picked up on that, but he did. And I'm the same way with other people's stuff. I mean, me talking about your guys' knives all the time, right? I admitted on my podcast I was a replaceable blade. You know, I wasn't a fixed blade guy at the time. I hadn't been for several years. But then you go into some of the nastiest country in the lower 48 and you use this knife and you absolutely beat the shit out of it and use it for everything, which I never could have done with a replaceable blade knife. And it's like, guess what? I'm a huge fan of these products now because I got to see how tough they were. And if I would have had any negative feedback on that, I would have given it to you. I couldn't find it. And that's not me kissing ass on the podcast either. I mean, that's the truth, man. I mean, like I told you, I was prying between rocks with that knife. Funny story. At work this morning, my boss shows up with a great big, I don't know what you'd call it, but great big goddamn survival looking knife. Another local company here. Yeah. And his kid's in the military, and he had it custom made for his kid. And I pulled it out of the case, and the tip was broke. And that, like, you guys was the first thing I was like, the tip's broke on that thing. That sucks, you know. It's like, because I haven't experienced that yet. I mean, I've been really hard on the stuff that I've had, and it just,
you know, and we have those little problems where the tip break, where we have those little problems, and I think every knife company has those problems. Sometimes you can't avoid it because how thin we want to go with things.
Well, there's things that are out of your control too.
Yeah, and they're not meant for that. But people will put them to those extremes and use them like if it was a fucking axe and break that tip or break the knife. You know, we've had that. You know, a heat treat with just a little bit Benny weights to fucking quench that knife. That'll do it.
Yeah, and also the amount of knives that go out. A small percentage is going to have some defects.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's stuff that not we didn't look at, or it's just the steel we used. Maybe that steel had a fucking flaw in it. It worked. Everything was great on our side. And still, you know,
one of those things is out of your control. So, the small problem in metal quality that you don't. I mean, you're never going to see it.
I don't think there's a knife company out there that could say, "I've never had a fucking knife come back."
Even custom knife makers, guys that'll put 40, 80 hours into a knife. Every now and then, we
heard a story here last week, and I'm not going to say names, but you know, I had a high expectation for this custom maker, and then just to hear what happened, I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah, it happens to the.
We make some pretty badass shit.
Because one of the things I was gonna say is like when people review Topps knives, whenever they review any of our products, if they fail or they have something negative to say, we usually still put it out. Like we'll still share it. We'll still because like he says that's where you learn. Like, hey, maybe this wasn't. Maybe there was like an error in this area, and so he'll go find out. Hey, what happened here, and try to fix it instead of covering it up, because that's how you improve. And so the longer you go and the more stuff they say, hey, this is wrong, the more you're fixing it and the less the problems later on. Right. Instead of just kind of sweeping them under the rug.
You know, and a lot of times when people say, hey, can I review a knife? What we'll do is people that are like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to, if something happens, I'm going to put it out there. I'm like more interested to give that person a knife than the one that's like, hey, send me a knife, and no matter what, you'll get this positive review and all this. Like, fuck that. It's
let
so
me know,
fake.
Let me know what you want coverage on. What's coming out?
That person's gonna do a fucking tabletop review. At best, they're gonna play with it in their backyard, and they're gonna tell you that everything was great. And I'd rather have the guy that goes out and uses it and beats the hell out of it. And he's like, well, you know what? The tip broke off, but I was doing something stupid. Everything else was great. I don't care. Like, that's fine. That's great for us because people can see what it can do.
Yeah, and we can also see if the abuse was like over the top where somebody wouldn't on a regular use would never do that. And so if it fails, then we're okay with like I think they're okay with it because it was used way past its limits.
And see, I'm that guy to a certain extent. I mean, like I told you, I took that Camp Creek knife in there, and I was prying between big rocks, river rocks that are permanently stuck in the ground, and I'm prying on things, looking for bait. I was hitting the back of that knife against a tree, basically just taking chunks out of a tree, trying to cut this tree down, hacking small limbs just with that knife in my hand. I mean, was it extreme for what that knife was made for? I don't know, but it's just stuff that I looked at and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this knife
but
for
it's
that.
stuff you needed to do.
Yeah.
So
and guess what? It did it all.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to that point, honestly, with my own stuff. For instance, like my stove, I told you I can stand on it, right? And there's a like I said, big competitor. One of their big claims to fame is a 300-pound guy can stand on this stove, and there's no legs on it. They don't tell you that, but there's it's just the stove sitting flat on the ground. So what do, right? I assemble a takedown stove, and I put it all together, my 6 pieces and everything, and I'm making all my own stuff with a metal brake. I'm folding all the braces. I'm rolling all the edges on the doors, and I mean, whatever it takes. I'm doing all that myself. But I get this thing welded together and done, 6 pieces, put it together. I stand on it, no problem. And then I thought to myself, well, they stand on theirs with no legs, right? I'm going to put the fucking legs on mine and see what happens. So I put my brother over there and go to stand on it, and I made it all the way. You're talking 3/8 rod. 3/8 rod. You're talking nice rod.
Dry erase rod or
Not shaft.
rod?
No, not shaft, rod.
You can say rod. There's no racial.
No, you're
implications
talking
there.
3/8 rod for a leg, right? And you guys will get to see it on my prototype what the leg setup is. But I mean, it's 3/8 solid rod inside another piece of pipe, so it's adjustable with a set screw. But I set it all up. I got all my weight on it, and I got up there on one foot, had my hand on my brother's shoulders, and it started to get the weeble wobbles, finally collapsed. And I was like, well, shit, I didn't really expect it to work because, I mean, there's in what world are you ever going to need that out of a stove, right?
Yeah.
But here was the cool part that my brother pointed out. Where those legs go on the bottom, it basically, when it was teetering, it folded one of those side panels, right? Well, I gathered it all up on the floor, folded the side panel back out with my hands, kind of just did some little tweaking and beating on the concrete floor, and in 5 minutes, I had it put back together. And my brother was like, that's actually kind of a cool point, because if something does happen, something stupid, or somebody falls in a tent, and accidentally lands on this stove, or a horse kicks one or something like that, and it's this stove, the way it's made, and it's the sidewalls are 22 gauge sheet metal, and you can tweak this thing back together if shit goes wrong and still get it to go back together in its shape. And once you have the bottom and the top on, solid. I mean, if it fits together and the bottom and the top goes on it, flat out, it's as strong as it was before, period. Dang. Which I thought was pretty cool. And that was one of those things that I didn't
no air leaks, no nothing like that.
No. And it's because it's the way I built it on tolerances. Like I said, the bottom line is if it goes back together,
it'll be okay.
It's back in the shape it needs to be, and everything is sealed up.
Badass.
But I can't wait to get to that point, like you guys are saying, because I'm not even close. But to that point where I am getting reviews, and I am able to be to that point and figure out what people really think. I mean, that's an exciting thing for me. Like, that's one of the things that drives me is, like, I want to get to that point. I want to have that following to where, like, hey, this is cool, or hey, this is kind of a piece of shit and you need to fix it, It's like, that's just going to drive me to work harder and fix the problem.
And the thing is, you'll never make everybody happy.
Never.
Because some guy wants it lighter, or some guy wants it stronger.
Yeah. I'm already not making people happy. Like, honestly, like I told you guys, putting no restrictions on myself on what my company does type of deal. I mean, I've had 2 or 3 that very successful business people, you know, and they're like, man, you got to pick this one thing, or maybe these two things, and kind of find your niche, right? And it's like, well, I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I have to. I'm going to chase the things that mean something to me and that are important to me and where I see the gap in the market, and that's the direction I'm going to go. And as long as it's outdoor oriented.
Plus, each thing is its own niche.
Yeah.
Like you have,
it really is.
And to just pick one or two things, well, fuck, it's been done. That's everybody else's niche. Like, broaden the horizon.
Yep.
Cover all bases, yeah.
The whole knife thing, I can't say it enough. Like, it's got me so intrigued compared to what I was before. I've been using a certain style of knife for so long, a certain type of tool, and now all that has just changed 100%. I made content Saturday, and nobody on my crew had seen, all local guys, nobody had seen one of your knives, and I wore it. And everybody was just like, holy shit, dude, where'd you get that?
Yukon?
Yeah, it's crazy that we're more well-known outside of Idaho than...
And again, I mean, I'm up a tree trying to hang 2 tree stands, one for a hunter and one for a guy to film out of. I'd already dropped my saw and looked up and was like, oh, I still got to move some branches and stuff. Click. Just started hacking away with the old Camp Creek, and I mean, and it just that knife never ceases to amaze me, man. And by the time we were done, everybody on my crew wanted one. So it's stuff like that. It's that easy. Once people see a product perform, you know, they want it, and that's where I want to be. I want to have that product, no matter what it is, that people are like, damn it, I gotta have that.
You know, after we did your podcast. And we brought up the Camp Creek Fire Edition. You know, and you said about the leather sheath. I like leather too, but Kydex is my go-to. You know, and ever since that, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a fucking optional fucking Kydex dangler for this fucking thing. For me, you know, just because I want it to be. Usually, we'll stick like, okay, we're gonna do this sheath for this knife, and then if you want a custom one, you get it made, whether it's leather, nylon, Kydex. But this one, I think it's gonna be an option that we're gonna make.
That's cool. Yeah. And it's funny because you and I were in opposite shoes there. Because once you guys proved to me with that leather sheath that you had, it's like, all right, maybe leather's not, you know,
but even
good quality heavy leather.
If we did like a leather dangler, I'm down with that too. You follow me?
Yep.
That I've used. I think the whole last hunt season I used a leather dangler and. Yeah, okay. That was badass.
And see, like I said, after seeing that one, you putting that knife in there and freaking shaking it, and I was like, holy shit, this isn't as bad as I thought. And then was it you that made the point with the Kydex too? If you're in the brush and all that shit, and you hit it once, once it pops, I mean it's out. Yeah. It's kind of out, right? I've never had that with the Camp Creek, and I mean I've crawled through some nasty shit with that knife hanging on my belt. But I mean I don't see that being a problem with the leather now either. So I mean it kind of opened my eyes to the whole.
Yeah, leather's good. Like I said, I like leather, but I don't know. There's gonna be another option for that.
I don't know why, but I'm like you, Kydex. I'm just partial to. I feel like when my stuff is in a good Kydex sheath or holder. Just like pistols, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't. I just can't beat the feel of Kydex. Like I know when it seats in there, it's in there, it's protected.
When you hear that click, there's like some peace of mind almost.
Kinda.
Yeah. You know it's
You're right.
secure.
And whether it's the knife or a pistol or what, you know, I know I have one on right now, and I know that when my pistol clicks in there, trigger's covered. You know. All the essentials, and I feel the same way with a knife or whatever. I mean, it's like you said, you hear that click, and it's like, okay, it's good, it's safe, it's secure. I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I just probably don't have the experience with leather, I guess, to have that same feeling.
If it initially has a tight retention, it just goes to trusting your equipment. Like, you know, just repetition is key. So, you know, the more you put it in and out of the sheath, you know how far down it's supposed to seat. You get that feel. And it's just trusting your equipment and knowing that even though it is leather, you put it where it needs to go. It's seated the same way it always is. You don't need to worry about it.
I've tried to seat it as far down as I can my whole entire life, and it never changes.
Still haven't hit bottom.
Always the same. It seats in the same place every time. Like,
Son of a bitch, don't go farther. God damn.
you know what?
I bet your wife's happy to hear this little clip.
You can make the longest Kydex sheath you want. Still gonna only seat.
so far.
Yep.
And the thing with, regardless of which sheath you choose, there's no matter what, after time, there's some maintenance you got to do. Like eventually, Kydex is going to start to loosen up. You got to kind of fix it yourself. Or eventually, leather will loosen up, and you got to fix it
For
yourself.
me,
metaphors,
my biggest fear of leather, is sitting on it wrong. Leather sheaths, motherfucker,
and having it poke through the
and having it fucking cut through, and you're not paying attention. You're up in the wood, and you go to reach for your knife, and you catch that leather, and it fucking slices you. That's my biggest fear.
So what happens in the scenario where in those leather sheaths, if you are in tight quarters a lot and that knife's trying to do this, right, and your cutting edge is actually touching leather inside,
So
will that leather eventually wear down on that edge too? I mean, or does it not? Do you not really see it affecting anything?
So we put a welt on ours. You know, it's not like your cheap fucking leather sheets you see out there, where
Right.
we're just sewed and your knives in.
and there's
No.
like a rivet or two.
We have a leather welt where your blade hits usually, and you're not gonna cut through that. You know, you really have to fucking sit there and fuck with it for hours and hours to do something.
Yeah, the other thing is especially once the knife's in the sheath, your
Leather right there.
the shape of the handle and the way everything's put in, you don't get enough leverage to cut through.
Yeah, for me more is you're sitting, you're up in the fucking wood. You're sitting on a fucking rock that's fucking pointy, and that sheath just catches that. You just sit on it wrong, and you cut through the side or through the top, and then you don't think about it. You reach down and it fucking just slices you. That's my biggest fear for leather.
Usually the danger with leather is you're putting it in, right? Like if you get that angle wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when you
'cause
put
I've
it
seen
in
that
or take
before,
it out.
Where they
Sometimes being in a hurry, I see people fucking
Yeah.
cut through it, and you don't realize until you feel it.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
There was one guy at a show that bought a knife, super
trap.
excited, put it in the sheath, and had the handle twisted, so he missed the welt with the blade, cut straight through the sheath into his fingers.
Into his fingers.
And he was like, that was dumb. It was my fault. Like
That was a
but
bull
at the
trout,
same
huh?
time, yeah, it was a bull trout. You were there. That was at that one in Portland.
That's
Yeah.
got to be a hell of a promotional deal, though, at a show when a guy can. Oh, this wasn't cried straight.
No, we have
Yeah,
people cut
we-
themselves, leave, get attention, whatever they do, come back and buy it.
Even if they weren't in the market for a new knife, like there's something
That
psychological.
motherfucker has my blood on it. I'm taking it.
Yeah, something psychological about it.
So I try to cut
Especially
them.
because they're knife guys.
I try to cut them with more.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, so we carry multiple first aid kits to every show.
We actually did. Greg and Maya just set up a fucking
Just
nice first aid
upgraded
kit.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was good. We got some comments like they're kind of negative on that post that Skarks did on that
On the
backpack one.
My Medic
And I'm
thing?
like, I looked through. I'm like, man, these are
thing is-
good things. This is good stuff based on that training we had with.
And the thing is, like, everybody will, like, it's just like anything. People see that and they're like, oh, that one's garbage, but they like this other brand that does the same shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
Or at least close to.
yeah,
the
it's
You're
same.
talking about a
fucking
MyMedic
products
first
inside.
aid kit?
Yes.
So I carry a MyMedic in the backcountry, and it's a bigger kit like this. Probably that.
I
deep.
just bought the boat kit that they do because it has all the, and that's gonna be just to mount on my Ranger.
So the scissors that came in mine, not worth shit.
I replaced mine with the Leatherman ones.
Yeah, and I went to a surgical pair of scissors that my buddy got me, but I honestly went to use the scissors the first time on some moleskin. My nephew was getting a blister on his heel. Nobody had a knife handy. This is
That's what
before
I just gave to
before
Craig.
I owned my Camp Creek.
That's
But I went to use those
Yeah.
scissors. They literally would not cut moleskin, and I was like, well, that's fucking retarded, And so I tossed them. But other than the scissors, everything else in that MyMedic kit has been really functional. I carry the biggest kit out of anybody that I know right now, that I run with anyway. I don't feel like it's big enough. A bunch of the guys that I run with think that it's way too big until you start talking about it. It's like, dude,
Until you need it.
yeah I mean,
It's
when
insurance.
you're so many miles back here or whatever. I mean, there's gonna be shit, and then you carry separate things like a good tourniquet, that kind of stuff. And they're, that's weight, that's room in your pack, or it's
death.
Yeah, it's you not dead because you're not bleeding out of a freaking artery, right?
Yeah, 10 more ounces of weight versus losing my leg. Let's see.
The My Medic kits, honestly, I don't feel. I mean, are they the highest quality stuff out there? No. Do they have a bunch of stuff in them that's going to get the job done and possibly save your life? Absolutely, man. And there's 100. You get on Amazon, dude, and there's 100 different companies, brand names, companies that make all these, and then there's super expensive ones too. And I've owned a couple of those. I've gotten to demo them. Could I really tell the difference? No. And that's the honest truth. I mean, it's just a lot of the same shit, just like you said,
and
with somebody else's name on it, and they charge more money. I mean,
yeah. Well, and sometimes it just comes down to the components. Like the shears are bad. Put good shears in it. The rest of the kit's good. Or like this part's no good or that part's no good. So take out the parts that are bad and replace them with the better parts. It's.
Tell him to stop yelling.
It's like anything.
Is it?
Leon.
Oh, he's out there.
Yeah.
Open it.
Pro tip. You want a good pair of scissors for a first aid kit?
Yeah.
If you are in the construction world at all or know somebody around here, like it's part of the phone company, if they get out on a phone job, those phone guys they're kind of like a surgical pair of scissors, right? Not very big, about this long. Dude, they're the sharpest goddamn things I've ever seen in my life. And they get them for nothing. And so when you're on a phone job, a lot of times you can look at a phone guy and be like, hey, can I have that pair of scissors? You probably got a new one. They'll say, oh, yeah, they'll give them to you.
Let me buy those from you?
No, they'll just give them to you.
Really?
And they are the most gnarly freaking scissors.
Okay, so when I find a phone guy and he doesn't give them to me, I'm like, no, fucking Ben said.
Yeah.
You would give these to me.
Wait, there's still phone guys?
Believe it or not, yeah, there is.
There's a few.
We were just talking about that because we cut a phone line
They all work commercial now.
a week ago at
No
work.
residential.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, I can't believe people still have it. And then I was like, Marge, hello, Marge? Like, that's the only, some 80-year-old grandma is the only person on a landline talking to her friend down the road.
And businesses, I guess. Yeah, I get that.
Even a lot of businesses now, it's not
as much.
Well, it's internet phone, and I mean, it's all ran through a modem. They have multiple lines. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with a hard phone line anymore.
Yeah, not Zoom.
But there's still cables everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I find them.
I find them.
So you also
takes them
mentioned.
up.
So you also mentioned that like you've taken out like beginners that really don't know about hunting and stuff.
Jesus.
So are you, right?
Oh, yes.
So you ever plan on doing like classes or like a like I don't know, like a beginner's
experience.
like courses where you're like take a few people out there and
That's a loaded question. So here's my stance on. I mean, classes. I don't see myself
with a whiteboard.
I prefer the term pale board.
Again,
That's been
dry
established.
erase. Dry erase.
I'm just saying.
It has been established. No, I mean, I'm not saying no. It's just you kind of put me on the spot with that one. Something I've never really thought about. I'm way more into. I mean, I have a kid at work right now that's waiting for General Deere this year to come up. I kind of walked him through buying his own rifle. I actually haven't been out with him yet at all, but I walked him through buying his own rifle, going out to the range, getting it zeroed. The only thing he didn't listen to me was what caliber of rifle he bought. Was looking at several different things, and I'm not a 6.5 Creed fan. I'm a 6.5 PRC fan, but I'm not on the
Buy ammo.
Yeah, I'm not on the Creedmoor train. But I told him, I was like, a 6.5.
I went and bought a fucking PRC.
Yeah.
3 or 4 bucks of ammo. And
Yeah,
then
good
nothing.
luck. Yep.
And so I went and bought a Creedmoor like the next day, and then bought like I think
Case.
the case.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep, PRC's really hard to get at right now, but it's such a better round. That's just my opinion. But no, but this is just recently, so choices were limited anyway, right?
Correct.
Kid's 120 pounds soaking wet, buys a 300 Win with no brake on it. And I was like,
Christ.
bro, he handled it. And then I got him into a custom brake that I think he's going to buy that'll help. But he handled it. He went to the range, shot it, tried to, zeroed it and everything. And I'm going to take him out deer hunting general season here in October. Good kid. He's a rock hound. Kind of a nerd. Sorry, Austin, if you ever listen to this. But, kind of a nerd.
really good kid, really excited to just get out, right? He'll hike miles and miles and miles looking for rocks.
Ambitious.
And I was like, well, you'll hike miles and miles and miles looking for deer too.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that, and walking people through those first experiences that's pretty fulfilling to me. I wouldn't count a class out. Being in the same situation with my wife, that was a learning experience, because as a couple, it's different.
Yeah.
You go to criticize somebody about what they're doing, and it's like, for instance, if it was me and you, Craig, or me and you, I wouldn't be afraid, while you're sitting behind a gun or whatever. Hey, dumbass, you can't do that. Don't do that. This is a bad habit.
Yeah.
Your wife, it's like,
Different.
sweetie, this is kind of this is kind of frowned upon. You probably shouldn't do this, because you got to know that they're a little more sensitive to everything that's going on.
Can we just talk for just a second? Just
Yeah, you do it carefully.
Leave it for the podcast.
It's like a 10-minute conversation, and it's like a real simple thing to change. But with a dude, it's like, don't fucking do that, man.
Yeah. There's a couple times that she was not thrilled with me, just because I came at her blunt enough with some stuff, that she felt like she was doing it really wrong, type of deal. And I didn't really realize that until I kind of stepped back and looked at it.
Until she
said
told you?
something. Yeah, it's like, okay, I get it. You're not all my boys that I hang out with, and I got to be a little careful how I approach things with you. And
that's how Craig is if you go out with him.
Yeah, you have to kind of sweeten it up.
Like, sweetie,
Kid gloves.
buddy.
Fuck you.
Well, kid gloves.
Fuck you. Look.
So, but you know what I mean? Like, you talk about classes, and all this stuff runs through my mind of like,
Hey, bud, can we just pause for a second?
This has never happened. This never happened. It's never been like that. Never happened.
you know what? I'll give you your opportunity.
Unless
we'll
he's
see.
shooting fucking dove and I'm just kidding.
Do you make the tennis noise when you throw shit too?
No.
Left-handed.
Dude, I'd have to see
I
it.
actually throw right-handed. I can't throw left-handed.
Shit.
Really? You got used to it?
Oh, no. I've never thrown left-handed. I've
Really?
never been able to.
Because I know you used
Have
to.
you ever thrown anything, period?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he gets mad.
tantrum?
When he gets mad.
Look, get all your jokes out. Get them out.
That was an easy one. I'm sorry. That was an easy one.
And then, so it's harder to get things that are for left-handed people. So,
It is.
when I was learning how to throw, I was learning how to throw a baseball. And so the mitt that I had was on this hand.
Left-handed man.
Yeah. And so I threw with my right hand. That's just
Same with your golf clubs. For a while, you were using right-hand golf clubs.
When I first started
like,
golfing with him.
my experience of learning to throw was all based around baseball, and so like I played baseball when I was a little kid, not even into like junior high, but I batted right-handed, I threw right-handed, everything else I do left-handed.
Did you do the
No,
No, it was more like this.
that's
Jesus.
softball. So no, I didn't do that.
Well, like I
but yeah,
said-
it's like I learned how to play guitar right-handed because in my head, this like when you're playing a guitar right-handed, your left hand is the one that's doing all the work, and I'm like, well, that seems left-handed to me.
Really?
Fuck you, guitar motherfucker.
So you never got a left-handed guitar?
I work with both hands. I work with both hands myself.
And
I'm just saying.
the thing is, left-handed guitars cost more.
Leo says,
And,
call me
and
Fender.
if I had learned how to play guitar left-handed,
Fight for it. Sorry, keep
keep it
going.
going.
Yeah,
No,
keep
you're
going.
good. You're good. Keep it going.
I find this interesting.
If I had learned how to play guitar left-handed, and I go somewhere where there's guitars, I can't play them.
That's true.
So
Do you think it would have been harder to learn? Like, because most teachers are right-handed? Would it be kind of weird? Or would it have been
not
easier?
so much.
'cause
I've
it's
never
like
had a
mirror?
problem like doing that,
No.
flipping things like that. But
Yeah, I'd have a hard time with it.
Jimi
But like-
Hendrix.
well, Jimi Hendrix, what he and
Jimi
he would
Hendrix
use right-handed guitars.
Yeah, I was going to say, but he
And
played,
his
he
strings
played
were
a
upside-
left-handed guitar upside down.
Upside
right?
down.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He played
Yeah.
shit. That dude was just
Yeah.
different.
He
He was
used his
different
own-
altogether.
My nephew's left-handed, but he does so many fucking things right-handed that I almost like. It's almost backwards. Like, no, he's right-handed, but writes with his left because that's about the only fucking thing he does.
On my so I have my little leather station set up at my house, right? And I have left-handed scissors that I bought specifically because I'm left-handed, and I cut weird with them because I'm used to cutting with right-handed scissors, and so I'm used to cutting and going like this, and I can't get used to
See, I
using.
turned
So
my
you're
phone
just
down for this
ambidextrous now.
episode. That
I
didn't
can't-
happen to me this time.
I can't get used to left-handed scissors. Like people
That's
don't
right.
realize it, but the way they cut, you can see a line.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to looking at the wrong side, and so I use my left-handed scissors, and I always get fucking.
So you're
everything
just
up.
you're just ambidextrous now. Because my
But
son's the same way too. Like he eats with his left and he writes with his left, but most of the other stuff he does with his right. So like, I don't
So
know.
I'm gonna have to do
I
battle
still
with
don't
some
know.
of the same stuff because my daughter's right-handed. She's left eye dominant.
Oh,
So when I
is she
started
gonna-
shooting guns with my daughter, at first, she wanted to lean over the butt of that gun like this.
all the way
And
across.
so, you or I would be looking with our right eye down this way, and she's going like, and I'm like, hey, you can't do that. And I didn't understand it. She's like, but that's the only way I can see. It's the only way it makes sense to me. And I never would have.
So are you teaching her how to shoot left-handed instead, or?
Well, you really only have one of two options. I told her, I said, you either have to shoot left-handed, which she really doesn't want to do, or
use your right eye.
apparently my mom was the same way. You can put a patch. You make them wear an eye patch.
yeah.
Put an eye patch over their left eye. Make them use their right eye for a while, and they'll pick it up. Especially kids, teenagers, younger kids. I mean, they'll adapt to it super quick. One of the guys on my crew is like 100% ambidextrous, dude. It freaking pisses me off because he's like best basketball player I know too. He's just turning 42, and he's like the Steph Curry of Rigby. And
Can you shoot with either hand?
yeah,
Yeah.
because he coached with me this year on our daughter's basketball team, and it pisses me off because we'd always play like warm up lightning and stuff with the girls, and he'd shoot left handed and still win, and it's just like. I don't know. Left-handed people are fucking retarded.
So soccer was my sport, and
I could see that.
And okay, that's fine. I ran a lot. I ran a lot.
Soccer's tough.
But
it is tough.
I was left foot dominant, but I could do either foot, and it always bugged the shit out of me. The guys on my team could not use their left foot at all. It always bugged the shit out of me. I was like, guys, just use your fucking left foot.
I can,
The
guys.
ball's right there. Just fucking pass it with your left foot, and they would not do it. Refused.
It's hard.
And I didn't understand that because I could still pass and shoot with my right foot. Like, it wasn't a problem.
I'm the same way. I can use
never
both.
had that
I can
issue.
use both my feet. Doesn't my feet dominancy doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it just like when it comes to other things, like any kind of sport, like I golf left-handed. I suck at golf right or left-handed, don't matter. But I'm a little better left-handed. But like baseball, I grew up right-handed. I did all that.
When you were taking Krav Maga, which hand did you choke the shit out of those women with? Your left or your right?
both.
Both?
Yeah, I like to double
Double
fist
fist
that.
their
Yep.
neck.
Yep.
No, So back to his question, but the one thing I got to point out though, like I
I don't
said,
even know what he asked.
I
Like,
remember what he asked. We got
lost.
way far down the
Conversation
rabbit
ran
hole.
over south.
The one thing I will say is,
know
like
where we're
I,
at.
like I told Craig, I'm going to give him his chance, right? I'm
gonna
kind of
go
excited
grab a
to
bottle
do
of
this whole
whiskey
like
and
bear hunting thing and whatever, and I hope we see success. But I'm going to know who the success comes from because I'm going to hear a gunshot, and then you just in the background you just hear this. Yeah, I shot a bear. And that was Craig.
Oh, fuck, dude. You got to do it like that?
No.
Not no more.
Maya's not going with us.
gotta have somebody to go get the shit.
No,
Maya dragging a bear?
Maya's an excellent bird dog.
Yeah. I don't think he's a bear dog, though.
no,
It's a little different. Yeah, I think it's a little different. Fucking,
He like goes in after the bear's not dead yet.
it's all like, fucks him up.
No, back to the question about teaching, though. That's a tough one. I mean, I love teaching people. I don't know that I could do it in like a classroom setting, but I mean, it'll always be my goal to introduce people to anything outdoors that I can get them into. Fishing, it doesn't matter. And so far in my podcast and stuff, I've been real focused on hunting, and now I'm getting into fishing. And it even says in my bio and stuff, like motorsports. I grew up big time in motorsports. I mean, I'm going to focus some on that stuff in the future, and the whole deal. Any way I can get people outside, do
Yeah,
it.
because one of the things that
Because it is bad company outdoors, not hunting or fishing.
Yep.
Or
And that's the
this
reason
or
I
that.
stuck with that.
Yeah, because like one of the things you butcher your own animals, right? That's what Craig
do.
was saying. So like that's something that because a lot of people do hunt, but they don't know how to really.
Even a lot of people here in Idaho
Yeah.
Falls, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like we were talking with Craig the other day. A lot of people take it over to Glenwood or whatever the fuck wood and get it processed.
They got it, and then
I never heard of that
give it
one.
to somebody else.
Which one?
Whatever the fuck would.
Yeah,
I
one of those.
haven't been to
There's
that one
just
yet.
a
I'll
lot
have to
of
try that.
Yeah, it's
There's
just up the road from Glen.
They're not bad.
But they'll take them and they'll get them processed. You don't know what the fuck you're getting back.
Yeah, you're getting your
You're getting your weight.
You're getting your weight back. You're not
Exactly.
getting your animal back.
Correct.
There's very
You know,
few
so
where you
when
do.
when we did your podcast, Ben, and you're like, "Fuck, we'll go through it." I'm like, "Fuck, I'm down for that shit." I
Well,
want to learn how to process.
so little do you know, I already have a plan. I have a plan.
Badass, man.
And that plan is, I actually just talked to one of my friends that's,
on a pegboard.
he's a,
No, it's on a dry erase board.
I'm trying to be politically correct here.
You're doing a good job.
I'm making it-
You're doing
I'm
better
making
than
it
normal.
worse. A pegboard is worse.
I don't know what to, I just can't decide what to think about you.
Corkboard.
That's all there is to it. I just can't pin it down.
That's
After my podcast, my wife was like, "So what do you think?" I was like, "Dude,
That Craig guy,
yeah, that Craig guy, I just don't know."
I know.
He's
I
he's
get that a lot.
mysterious.
he's fucking
I'm not mysterious at all.
There's some mystique about him.
Thank you.
I asked one of my buddies that's kind of a taxidermist on the side, and he's the one that's helping me on some bait locations this year. Runs dogs, been chasing bears for his entire life. I mean, this guy knows more about. He's forgotten more about bears than I know. He is going to help us when you or whoever shoots a bear, because that's going to happen. We're going to do a full-blown video on how to dress that bear, starting with skinning that bear, because when you lay a bear open, right? And
So let me, before you keep going, Jesus. So we were talking about this, and I didn't think about it until he brought it up. But you fucking completely skin a bear, and it looks like a person hanging.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you want to see it, like I said, when we do this, we'll hang this bear. I want to do it in the field, right? And this is what I told him. I want to hang the bear in the field and skin it, and then most guys around here don't use the bear meat, which blows my mind because it's freaking fantastic.
I read
I
that
took
shit recently. I'm like, you're not required to use the meat. When
No, you're
Correct,
not.
yeah, you don't
because
have
it's
to.
because it's a predator, and most people don't.
blows my mind.
Most people don't use it, and they're nuts because bear roasts. I mean, bear meat in general is good, right? And especially for things like breakfast sausage, like I was telling you. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do with it. You do have to be a little careful because they're a predator, and so they carry trichinosis. And so whatever you do, you got to cook them long enough. You have to get them over 160. As long as you get the meat over 160, you're good. Some people will say, well, I don't cook, I don't cook any of my meat over 160. Well, bear just so happens to be like a bear roast cooked to 160 or 170 is still just like fall apart
Fuck. That's bad.
meat, dude. It's
well
good.
done.
I always thought it was like
But-
hard meat.
No, it's
That,
not.
and that's
It's-
what everybody says.
Yeah,
A lot of-
it's
because
way
they don't
different
know
than
how
you
to
think.
cook it.
A lot of people that don't like any kind of game animal, it's usually because they want to just cook it with nothing. And it's like, you don't do that with beef. You season it still.
They don't wanna
like
marinate,
you
they don't
marinate
wanna-
it, or you do
Right.
this or that. Like,
And I don't
it's
cook
just-
my elk steaks any different than I cook a beef steak.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck.
In
yeah.
fact, I'll cook an
You'll
elk steak
fucking-
with
you'll-
less shit. Like
You'll ruin a fucking elk
salt,
steak if you
pepper,
put shit on it.
medium rare, done. Like because elk meat's good that way, right? But the bear thing, it's like, so I want to do the video of skinning the bear because when you go to skin a bear, if you're doing it for the taxidermist, if you're gonna make a rug or whatever, and I'm going to admit here, I've never done it. This will be a learning experience for me too because I've never skinned my own bear. You get to the wrist, you got to break their wrist because you leave everything in their paw, which is basically a hand. You leave it all in there, and the taxidermist takes care of that later. Okay. So you got to get to a certain point, know where to split them. Same thing with their neck back here. You skin them all the way around, and then when you basically disconnect their head, right? Because you got to leave the head with them. And then after that, I want to do a breakdown video of quartering that bear and everything because it's no different than an elk hanging there, even though it looks like a freaking dude.
Cuts are all the same.
You still got your back straps, tenderloins, front quarter, rear quarter, blah blah blah. I mean, it's all going to break down the same, and it's an awesome spot to utilize some of your guys' products, just in the sense that, well, the bear, like I said, you're going to go through and skin the whole thing. And so you guys have a couple of products that are 100% basically dedicated
to that. It's like, I'm going to skin this whole bear with one knife that's meant to skin shit. And then I'm going to reach in my kit and pull out another knife, and I'm going to start cutting these quarters down. And he agreed to help us do that, right? And because that, I mean, like I say, even that's a humbling experience for me because I've never done it. So he's going to walk us through all that stuff. And then I totally agree with your idea of what you had on my podcast is I think we'll go through after that and do a 100%, might be a couple video series. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll just have to see how it turns out. But processing that whole bear from field, my favorite saying, you guys heard me say it, from field to table. And so we'll make our own sausage. And dude, this day and age, especially with the bullshit that's going on right now, I mean, who wants to go to the store right now and buy freaking sausage? It sucks. It's expensive.
It's so fucking expensive.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden you go right out our back door right here and you kill a bear. And I'm going to, if I kill a bear, I'm probably way down the list because I'm going to try and help you guys kill bears and whatever. But if I kill a bear, it's like I told my wife, I'm going to save like 2 rear quarter roasts. And then the rest of that bear is going sausage, man. Breakfast sausage. And just because for the next year, I don't have to care anymore. It's like Saturday morning, Sunday morning, breakfast sausage. I have it in the freezer. And that's a good feeling. And not only that, just like you said, knowing where it came from, right? It's like I did this. I know what's in it. I know where it came from. And then there's so much other shit with a bear that we can do in the breakdown. I mean, rendering the fat. Meat eaters made that super popular. Mm-hmm. But if you look into that, I mean, I'll be the type of guy that goes from throwing butter in the pan to fry my eggs to little drizzle of rendered bear fat. Same deal. Flavor's great. I mean, you can use it baking. You can use it on your boots. I know guys that use it on their boots. I know guys that oil their guns with it. I mean, there's
a lot of usefulness.
Oh man, it's such a versatile thing to have, and once you render it and put it in a jar, it's good for
a while.
Oh yeah, long time. So it's like it's great.
Can you during this process suck the bone marrow out of like,
you can
something.
Oh, EJ's gone. You're talking shit again already.
Not about EJ.
Sucking the bone
Never mind.
Oh shit!
It didn't go well with EJ last time.
So
he threw me into the women's bathroom.
My wife's big time into making.
It was cool.
Like bone stocks, and so yeah. I mean, with any animal, it doesn't matter. Again, you'd have to boil it good, you know. But which making a stock, you probably would anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's just the same. Take all those bones, throw them in a pot, make a stock that you can use on, you know, in stews, soups, whatever. I mean, like I said, my wife's huge on that, so we keep deer bones, elk bones, all that. She'll, you know, boil it up.
So the longer you hang out with us, the more you'll realize that everything is a sexual joke.
No.
And so when he asked if you could suck the bone marrow out of it, it was a sexual joke
to him.
No.
Because to me it was absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why you were asking me.
Yeah.
So
because when EJ was here, he was saying something about sucking the bone marrow, and
my brain's going so many different directions. Like I was gonna make one comment, but then when my wife listens to this, I would get my ass kicked. So I'm gonna refrain from that one. I also don't know where to.
something I have learned
Oh yeah.
from
every Spanish word. Yep.
literally,
Okay, go with the Mexicans, motherfucker. Go.
there's like maybe 3 words in this Spanish language that don't directly translate to dick.
Yeah.
Like,
And one of them is
nothing
C.
is sacred.
I think.
Like chorizo.
Yeah, that's dick.
No,
Yep.
You say that around the wrong people start laughing. It's
Yeah.
like,
Do
what?
you want some chorizo, Dylan?
Yeah.
You can't answer that. It's a fucking trap.
You got me.
It's a trap.
I'm
It's a
thinking.
trap. You think
I'm
it's
thinking
sausage.
And don't go bad places with this, but I'm just thinking food.
Yeah, but it's not.
I didn't say anything.
Because it is a direct translation
Yeah.
to dick.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Do you want chile?
Yeah,
Like
that's
salsa?
dick.
You can't say
Dick.
yes.
Yeah.
Because it means
Do you like sweet potatoes?
dick.
That's dick too.
Dick also means
Camote,
dick.
yeah, that means dick.
Yeah.
So basically, when I walk through here and any of these guys are like, "Hey, you want?" and then I just say
if they
no.
offer you anything,
Just say no.
if they offer you anything in
you can-
Spanish,
Not me.
Say
look that shit up before you say yes.
Or do you just ask them, "What's the American word for that?"
It's easy.
Dick. No, I'm out.
Dick.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have a fucking good
do you want
definition.
some? Do you want some bread?
But anyway, back to the content creation. Like one of the things we try to get out and get as much content, and that's something you can't fake. You can't fake the skinning, but it's a difficult thing for us to record because how often are you guys like killing elk or killing bear, and so like
There's actually seasons for that.
no, I know there's
no,
seasons, but
But it's like you get a couple chances.
yeah,
a
you
year.
get a couple chances, and that's it. Like you're done for the whole year.
Yeah. The bear thing.
So it should be easier to narrow down. There's only
fair
a
enough.
couple times that you
Yeah.
can go film.
That is true.
The bear thing hopefully will be better just because when you're baiting bears like we are, like if you do a spot and stock bear scenario, then it's tougher. I mean, your odds go way down. Yeah. But we're probably going to run. I think we got 3 baits that we're discussing right now. I mean, you could have 20 different bears coming in, right? And so if the shoe fits, good bore or whatever, it doesn't even have to be. I mean, I'm not going to stop anybody. The law states no sow with cubs, right? So you got to be a little careful. But I mean, if I got you guys in the stand and I don't tell anybody what to shoot or not shoot, if we find a young boar or whatever, and you're like, man, that's my bear, do it. I mean, and we will have opportunities. Like I can promise you that. It's our 10 guys going to shoot bears?
Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, 5 of us, maybe. I mean, that could be a reality, and that there's lots of circumstances that are
So
going
the
to go
chances
into
of
that.
getting at least one bear are pretty high.
Oh, if we don't, this whole thing that I'm doing right here,
If you don't get one bear, then
if we don't shoot one bear,
then change
I
it.
probably ought to rethink some things about how I'm.
It'll be bad company.
you'll-
How insulting.
You'll
really.
put the
It'll be
emphasis-
bad company outdoors, kinda.
or put the
Outdoors ish.
put the emphasis on the bad part.
Yeah, bad. Like all caps, underlined.
Yeah. Bad company staying inside.
Bad at
Now
what they do.
We'll just have to call Bear World. See, they have an old bear that they're looking to get rid
No
of.
shit.
Something needs put down.
Yeah, he's neat
Man,
bear. Yeah.
I'll do anything for good content. I'm not even going to call Bear World. You're just going to hear it on the news.
Yeah.
Bear World missing 3 bears. Oops.
Local man suspected.
YouTube channel Bad Company has the exact same bear. Surprisingly,
No, it's
Pancheri.
no. So when it comes to the content thing, I'm like, honestly, I'm a nervous wreck. The first content that we are really trying to make and that we filmed was a week ago. There'll probably be stuff that we film every weekend till the end of June, I'm guessing right now. And then when we get into July, we'll have elk scouting trips where we're hiking into the backcountry, 6, 8, 10 miles, whatever. But the content thing is a new thing for me. And I've had some people, really cool reaction. Oh man, that's cool. I can't wait to see it. I've had other people, oh yeah, you and everybody else, it's just gonna be the same shit. Everybody's got their own feel when it comes to content, their own attitude and things that come with it. I'm trying to be a little more raw, not so formal. I'm not going to leave all the raw language in it just because a lot of what I'm doing is centered towards youth too, getting kids involved and stuff. But I mean, so there'll be probably a lot of bleep noises in our editing. But I want it to be a little more raw. I don't want it to be so cleaned up that it looks manufactured. You follow what I'm saying?
It looks like on every single
It looks
one
like
you
the
go
outdoor-
on.
like the-
You're
thing.
bagging trophy animals.
I want this to be, I'm after those trophy animals and stuff, but I also want this to be more of that backyard, this is how we do it all the time. Like sometimes it's not going to be a big old planned out deal. We're trying to watch these bears on cell cameras right now, right? And so it's like I told Dylan, when it comes to you guys hunting or whatever, might be kind of a spur of the moment deal because it's just like, if I get a good boar coming in at 1:00 in the afternoon, sometimes they're pretty consistent because they're making rounds or doing what they do.
Okay.
So we get a bear in 2 days in a row. I might call one of you guys and say, hey, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we need to be in the stand because this bear's been here 2 days in a row at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's the way it rolls. You know, they don't show that shit anywhere else. It always looks like this big planned out journey, you know, and
You walked across fucking 3 mountains to
oh
get
yeah,
there.
three mountains, and you're in the stand, and all of a sudden this giant bear just magically appears, and all this.
Because you
know,
did
and it's
everything
like,
right, and it wasn't luck at all.
dude. I'm gonna show the stuff where it doesn't go right, and if we make a bad shot, or you know, and I'm gonna showcase the stuff where it does go right, and we end up in my shop with a bear hanging, and we're doing videos on how to utilize this bear type of deal. But I want it to be more raw. I want it to have more feel. And I'm sure everybody says that they want to make their shit different.
We got to go sighting our rifles.
Yeah, you know what? That might be a good idea.
Just bring a knife.
We all heard that.
Oh, shit.
Just bring a knife. It's fine.
I'm not going to say Craig and I fucking missed last year, but we might.
But I'm nervous, dude, when it comes to the content. And I mean, I've picked your guys' brains about podcast stuff already, and just because I'm that new at all this, and it's like it's a giant learning curve for everything I'm doing right now.
Well,
And
it was a
one of
learning
my
curve
biggest
for
fears.
us, you know?
It still is. We're still learning.
One of my biggest fears, it's like I told you guys, I can't wait to get to that point to where it's like I have reviews, and even if they're negative, it's like, okay, I'm learning from this.
Yeah.
But one of my biggest fears too is that it tanks.
Everybody
I've-
has imposter syndrome.
I've never been that person.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I've never anything I ever really wanted to do, I figured it out and I've done it and I've made it work. And it might have taken a little time, and so I'm that kind of a person, you know. I've told myself already, I'll drive this deal until I make it work, and I make it work the way I want it to. But it is, when we started filming last weekend, it was just like, damn, I hope this turns out the way I want it to.
Yeah,
And
the
if
only comments that suck are the ones that like don't offer like any like good feedback, because negative comments are okay as long as they come with like why they're saying that. But a lot of them, they're like, you guys suck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
why?
shit
Okay,
sucks.
whatever.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh.
we've had people that'll like just like 5 posts in a row, just like, oh, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fucking dumb. And then you find out it's because they like leather, not Kydex. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what sheath you put a knife in. If it's not leather, they don't like it.
Or you say why? Like, why are you saying that? I was just kidding, man. Oh, you wanted attention. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just get out of
See
here.
me at Blaze Show, bitch. No.
And then we have to remind people
yet.
we're a knife manufacturer. We're not a fucking sheath manufacturer. We're a knife manufacturer.
We make good
Well, what did I
sheaths,
say
though.
on
That's
my,
the thing.
on my podcast?
We do.
Don't talk shit to the guys from the knife company.
Yeah,
That's a
right.
bad idea.
But yeah, people, I don't know, all this bullshit. You know, they focus on a small portion of what they purchased. Like they have this amazing knife, this tool that is not going to fail them, that their grandkids can use, but they're pissed off because there's a certain type of
Paracord.
belt clip on the fucking sheath. It's like,
They don't like,
fuck
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you. Have one made. Figure it out. Make it work. Like
Yeah, because the knife is
we
worth
make
it.
knives.
Yeah.
Like that's our main thing.
And the thing and the thing is, we make good sheaths, but they don't work for everybody.
They're not for
We're
everybody.
trying to make a sheath that's going to work for a lot of people. But you might want a different carry style. That guy might want a different
You
carry
are right.
style.
It doesn't say Tops sheaths.
You know, and
It says Tops knives.
and that's the thing. Like I say, we do try to make a good sheath, and most of our knives have a solid sheath on them. Like whether it's Kydex or nylon or leather, but it's not going to work for everybody. It's just not.
Well, it's just
There's
like
no
my
way.
stoves. I'm not going to fit every application.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Some people are going to want it lighter.
yeah.
And some people are going to want more heavy duty.
Some people are going to want a Colorado cylinder stove that weighs 100 pounds by the time it's all put together, and they pack it in. It takes a whole horse to pack in their stove, but that's what they like. And it's, I mean, just like you said before, you're never going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
I want to put you guys on the spot for a second because I actually had you can't get out of
It's
that.
5:30.
Oh shit!
5 minutes.
One question.
This better be a 5-minute spot.
Jesus is
No, you're good. You're good.
One question, because I did have somebody on my crew ask me this after. See, my crew is new, and I did it on purpose. I handpicked some dudes that I had recently met, guys that I knew were passionate about what they were doing. And I honestly wanted the relationships to be kind of new, just
so that we can all learn about a bunch of stuff together. And it's actually unfolded really cool. It's gone just the way I wanted it to. And these guys are legit. But after listening to a couple episodes of the podcast, they stumbled onto number 6. And I've had 2 people ask me in the last week about muley skinner and a muley saw. And I saw them sitting in the box, not, blades. But what's the outlook on that? What's the timeline? What's the fill people in?
We're just waiting on sheaths. So we have the problem we're going to run into is no matter what, we didn't make enough right now. So we're going to release it, and in less than a day, we'll probably be sold out. And that's not me exaggerating. I'm not talking shit. Like, we won't ship them. We won't ship them all that day, but they will all be sold.
You're just giving
day.
people the harsh truth. It's like you're just not going to have them.
And the other thing we're going to do
right now. Sorry, before you keep going. Right now, I don't care if I run 3,000-4,000 of them. If I run 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 of them, that means we're not running nothing else.
And we have a lot of models.
And we have a lot of models. And I know people are like, well, just limit down the models. No, fuck that. That's not who Tops is.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. So I run 5,000 models. We don't run nothing else for months. And I still don't think that's enough. Yeah. I still think we'll be on
That's a good problem to have.
So, like, as an example, the last knife that we released, we made 3 times more than 3 times more what we normally do for a first run, and they sold out in less than a day.
Yeah.
They sold out in 2 days.
We like to say
2 days. It was
300%.
about a day and a half. But it doesn't matter if we do 3.5 times more or 10.5 times more. All that's going to do is buy us maybe 2 or 3 more days, but the end result is going to be the same.
It's going to be worse.
They're going to fucking sell out.
Yeah.
They're going to sell out, and we're not making anything else.
The other thing that's going to sell this one out fast is we're going to make a leather sheath that'll fit both knives, and we're going to make Kydex sheaths if you buy them separate, and so people can pick and choose, and that will also just sell them out way faster. Like,
right. Compound the whole problem.
Yeah, they're going to be gone. Yeah. They're going to be gone almost immediately. But we're very close. The knives and handles are both made. We're just waiting on sheaths to be like tweaked and finished up. Kydex sheaths are basically done.
I think I'm going to buy 10 of them. Just customize them.
But the Kydex sheaths are basically done. Correct?
Yes, they
Angel's
are.
got
They
those
are
pretty
done.
much
They're
finished.
done. They're done.
The leather sheaths, we have one prototype. We made a little change. As soon as we get that done, we're just going to be like, okay, go make them, and then we'll be ready.
Because I've had some guys ask about the Camp Creek that I carry just because they see it and they want one. And then that muley skinner, muley saw. So I carry a saw that's great big saw. I've only been carrying it for a year. My buddy Bo Beatty introduced me to him. It's called a Phano Saw. They come out of Chico, California. They got a bottom curved to them, right? Teeth are down here. Pretty lightweight, really sturdy.
Known to cause cancer.
Known to cause cancer,
of course.
obviously,
Everything in
the state of
California.
California.
Yeah.
Really nice leather scabbard comes with it, so you can strap it on your backpack. I mean, it doesn't weigh much. But for
What's it called? It's a
Phano Saw,
Phano Saw.
and I'll show you if you want to see it.
Yeah.
But these things are legit, and I'm talking legit. Like last year in the Frank Church, we cut the mass majority of our firewood with this saw, cutting trees like this, and just, I mean, their tooth design and everything, these things just run good, right? But I did have somebody when we were setting up tree stands, when I dropped that saw down, and I had to have my guy Spencer Miller up to me because I missed some stuff before I pulled out the knife. And that's when he's like, dude, what about that muley saw that you were talking about? He's like, is that the kind of knife that'll do this kind of stuff? And I said, no, I don't know yet, but I'm hoping. Because after he said that, it's like, you know what? If I had that sumbitch on my belt, it would have been perfect for that. I mean, it's the perfect length knife to just.
How big a branch are we talking? 1.5 inches?
Yeah, 1.5 inches.
It'll probably do that okay.
But when you're me up the tree, hanging from a lineman's rope, and you have it then it's the perfect tool.
Yeah,
because it's there.
Because you have it.
Yeah,
exactly.
because it's there, and it'll do the job. It might take a few
little
extra strokes or whatever, which I'm used to that. But
Congratulations.
no, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
And so I actually have. That's the crazy thing about like the podcast or the content world, right? Is so far the podcast, I've had, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to put out numbers here. I've had like 1,000 listeners total, right? But in that 1,000 listeners, I've had people, and a few people I actually don't even know that figured out who I was, got onto the podcast and somebody else, hey, I listened to this, it was cool, you know, where do I get this, or where do I find this? And it's like, that's the kind of stuff I look forward to, is the word getting out there. And it's like, man, it's coming. But that Muley Skinner, Muley Saw deal is driving me nuts, because I gotta freaking,
we're really
I gotta
close.
freaking test one, man.
We are
I gotta,
really close.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And then, like I said, the Camp Creek, just the normal Camp Creek, everybody that gets their hands on my knife goes nuts. I mean, I gotta have one, you know.
Yeah, our knives. One of the things that they have is when you see them on the website, you're like, that looks a little different. It doesn't look quite like a normal knife, because there's some designs to them that are that make it function just a little bit better. But once you hold it and once you get the feel for it, you're like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
And
No, keep going. Sorry.
yeah, and that's where you get hooked, is when you pick one up. It's not necessarily when you see it. It's
So at the shows, seriously, we're there, and 3, 4 of my guys, 5 of my guys were there, pretty much to watch over the tables for everything we have. The knives sell themselves, and of course to answer people's questions. But you sit back, and you get people that follow us and that actually know who Tops is, but never really got a chance to hold the variety we have. They'll say from here to here, take them 2 to 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
We have
And
people
just
come
grab
back
them,
4 or
they're
5
like,
times.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah.
Next time
And
you
just grab
go,
these things.
to like a sportsman's warehouse or wherever you go and you see a knife from a different company, just kind of look at it, kind of get a feel for it. There's not all of them, but a lot of them feel unfinished, and there's something that doesn't quite feel right, and you don't get that with ours.
For me, a lot of times it's the grip. So when we did my podcast and I was holding those knives up and talk about balance and grip and how it fits in my hand, and of course everybody's got a different hand, right? Mm-hmm. But that still doesn't affect the balance of that knife and the way it feels in your hand. Right. That's what gets me about your guys' stuff is so far every time, every knife that I've had the opportunity to just grip, and that first initial, it's like God damn, I could use this thing for everything, because I could feel the balance of that blade versus the handle. And even something as small as that Camp Creek, it's not a very big knife. No. But you go to throw it, or like you go to chop those little limbs and stuff, and there's just the right amount of weight there so that it's like it carries enough momentum to do the job. But then you go back to camp and you do what, you go to cut open a fish or something, and it's just like, you still just have that.
There's some
from
of our knives,
hacking to slicing, it's
there's
just like the same feel.
So I do the majority of the designing. I look at that. That's stuff that I look at. But there's some of the knives that on purpose we don't do that. But it's sort of like, say, like
Are they job specific?
Like the Hornero. Like, that's a lot of handle. I want a full grip with a small blade.
It's a small blade. Yep.
Yeah.
That's on purpose. I didn't design that one, but that's on purpose. Like the Steel Eagle 105 is the new one. You got a big ass handle with the fucking little just.
It's not small though. Like that one's
No,
big.
it's a big knife.
Still a 5-inch blade.
Are you talking the original?
No,
No, the new one.
The new
Yeah,
one.
the
new
new
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you got a fucking little you grab that thing and you want to put it through a door.
He did.
Which has happened.
Yeah.
His door.
My door. My
His door.
yeah, my office door has a big
There's a big hole.
knife-shaped
But-
hole in it. And
You know,
did you do
it's-
that? No, he did.
Like
It's like
it
was this ongoing joke.
Like, holy shit.
where every time he would come to my office and be like, "Hey," and ask me a question, he would just have a knife in his hand, and like fucking poke the door or like do this or that, and I'm always like,
I draw on his desk.
and then
Yeah.
I just
we were in
and
a
I just
meeting
look at
and
him
he
like,
carved a fucking knife in the side of the
and then he
desk.
looks at me, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "It's your building, man. Like, technically, it's your door.
So I
Like,
was
you
just
can
gonna
do what
say,
you want."
That's a
And he
unique
did.
place to work, where
He
you're
did
sitting there
do what
typing
he
on the
wants.
computer,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden something hits your door. Boom! You look back and there's this much blade coming through it. It's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's the CEO that stuck it through the door.
Yes, and it happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that's something I look for. But the feel, like the handles fitting to the blade, if they're off, it's not right. You know,
Ergonomics.
Yeah, the fit
Yeah,
and finish
just-
is it's one of those
yeah.
things like you like Jesus said, it's hard to put your finger on it. It's like
Yeah.
there's something that you're like, it's good, you know, it probably works,
blocky,
everything's
no
great, you can
radius,
use it
I
and no
don't know.
problem, but there's something. You
There's
can't
some
quite put
people
your
that
finger on it.
still
It's
buy
not
it.
quite there.
You know, I'm not gonna
Because
say
I went,
names.
because I went, I went and bought and bought a little knife from a different company, and it looks great. Like it's a nice looking knife, but it feels unfinished. And I showed him, I'm like,
I was just gonna say who, but
yeah, no, it was me. This one. But there's like sharp edges, like on the handle, like where the screw goes. It's not really countersunk.
Yep.
So it's not. And then you see some like in the micarta before they take it through the belt to. It's almost polished. It's almost got like a shine to it, and so it's unfinished. They still have to do stuff to it, and then it makes it that texture. And so those still have some of that like polish from the original. It's like it's not finished.
Yeah, if my boss listens to this, I'm probably in trouble. But that big knife I was telling you about this morning, the micarta handle on that thing, hated it. Hated it.
Yeah.
It was massive. Like the whole knife was massive, and I get it. That's the point of the design of that knife, right? But then when you go to pick it up and the handle's just the girth was huge. There was no fit to your fingers.
Girth is a good word. It's very descriptive. It's a good word.
No, you're doing great. Go on. You're doing great. Keep going.
Sounds like a Spanish word.
Girth? Well, I don't know how to feel right now because when I said the girth was huge and you get your fingers on it, and Dylan's eyes just kept getting bigger.
And Leo's like, thank you.
The dick joke meter was.
So anyway,
Yeah.
back to the knife handle.
You can't say anything around us.
Back to the micarta knife handle that I was talking
But
about.
I agree with you, man. Like
There was no feel to that handle at all, and the handle part of it, I don't know what you guys would call it, technical term, like right in front of my index finger where it would curl
finger
down.
guard?
Yep.
Trailer.
And then in the back too.
Yep.
There was this much space. Both ends. So it's like your hands just fitting into a big nothingness. Like and it was so big around you didn't feel like
And
you
I-
had
and
any
I
control
get
over
some
it at all.
people-
The edges weren't.
It's probably meant for people that wear astronaut gloves.
So
I just cannot. Like,
You can't say anything around us. You just can't.
I don't know if you're trying to make a joke or you're aroused. That's the part that I can't get over. Like,
Probably.
You said it,
Yeah,
not
it's
me.
definitely both.
That's
You
both.
said it, not me.
so some people will do that, like say they think of gloves. Right away they think of gloves.
Did he,
using
when,
gloves.
when I was over here, did he say it was kind of out of the frame? It's like,
Yeah. So people will focus that and say, I'm doing that for the gloves. But sometimes they do it way too much.
Way too much.
has a glove
Exactly.
on?
Yeah,
I mean,
astronauts. That's what I'm saying. They're probably made for astronaut gloves.
And so,
Or the
so
guy that designed it
when we
was
do
so
that, when we
large.
do that, fuck, it's
Dude,
really small.
I can't remember the last astronaut knife fight I saw.
Right?
Fuck.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is.
James Bond never have a glove on? Nope. Sure didn't. Chuck Norris? No glove.
No, he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like I said, it's
And again, apologies to my boss because it was a cool knife that it's got his kid's name on it and everything, and I get it. But as far as being like a useful
should tell him
knife,
to come to Tops.
it just, I
look
did
him up.
later.
Tell him if he really loves his son or kid.
But it just, to me, it just hit me as it's like, dude, I really couldn't do anything with this. It's just a giant piece of real heavy steel. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. And I
You
tried to
told
cut a
him-
piece of paper with it and it didn't work.
You told him how to turn it off, so we're good.
yeah, he knows how.
Yeah, Jesus
You
has
didn't
to
tell me
leave.
shit on turning it off.
Top
So-
right button is the end
top right?
Yeah, the red one.
So
You just
so
gotta
the-
kill it now?
No.
No, it's a strategy.
No,
That ends
Fuck
it.
We're done.
so
And
all
then
those,
the record is to stop. That's it.
yeah,
Two
All-
buttons.
so all the large square buttons, the one
Yeah.
on the right, on the top.
Well,
Perfect.
it
Got
was
it.
nice meeting you. It was nice
Good to go.
chatting with you. I have to go pick up my wife. But
No, you're good.
it was.
Yeah, I
it was
appreciate
fun.
it.
Hopefully, we get to see you around here more often.
Oh, I'll be here. Sure, I'm not
I think
going
we should
anywhere.
hang. I think we should hang the bear next to John, so that people can see like how close it is to looking like a man.
or human. I don't know
Yes,
about
that
man.
John. Yeah.
Will John have
Easy with
clothes
the
on?
man part.
We'll get him on a speedo.
I mean, he'll have a little bit.
Jesus.
See you later, Jesus.
So there's you can actually go look at this on
Somebody's already done it.
I'm gonna promote somebody else here. Brian Calls Gritty. They just did a Fall Bear episode
where Ryan Lamper shoots a bear and he cuts out the bear baculum. You know what that is?
No.
This penis bone about this long. And that's why I asked old John here if he's going to have clothes on, because I ain't going to lie to you. That bone's about this long, bro.
Stop watering.
So that's the only way it's going to be a fair comparison is if he's hanging upside down by his feet and so is the bear, right?
We could do that.
I mean, how are you going to know?
I'm sure we can make that happen.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Because Jesus is always talking about how John's arms look like hams. Just like they look like a ham. And so he's always like, he wants to just bite John's arms.
Seriously, though, on a big boar, that's like a thing. You cut the baculum out of it, you clean it all up, boil it like you would a skull or whatever, and then it's just like a dead straight.
They do that with walruses too, right?
What the hell did he say? It's a dead straight
Rod? Fucking, no.
Cylinder.
Shaft.
Yeah.
That's it.
Shaft.
Shaft.
That's got some good
That's
girth
where shaft comes
to
in.
it. We've used a
No,
lot
it
of
doesn't
that,
have
yeah.
any girth at all. It's about this big around.
And I'm going to fucking hang it like right behind me right here. So when
That's what a lot of guys do is they clean them up like a European mount and they
keep it like a trophy.
They just put them all over.
Put it right
But most
behind
people
me
are
and
proper about it, and they're like, "Oh, that's a bear baculum." And
No,
if
it's
it was
a
me and I
fucking
walked
dick.
into Leo's office, I'd be like, "Oh, look, there's his bear dick."
Yeah. Leo hung that dick up on his wall.
Yep, I did.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly how we would talk about it too.
So we're gonna make that happen, or what? I'm making you guys commit right now on air.
We should.
They even extended the season up here to June 30th. So
Is that not normal? Usually it
was the
earlier?
15th. They give you 15 more days, and the closer.
It depends on the area, though. No.
Yeah, it does. But up here where we're gonna be at,
okay.
it's longer, and it's like you're getting into like your bear rut time. Then I mean that's when you can get just big.
That's when they're just
random
dumb.
boars just wandering through because they're just looking. I mean, they're just on the prowl.
It's like any animal when they get horny, they're dumb.
Oh yeah, except for bears go like bull elk, for instance.
They migrate along.
Bull elk grabs a herd, tries to stick with them, protect all his ladies and whatever. A big boar, dude, he's gonna go find a lady, hit it,
Move on to the next one.
and it's miles, and I mean those bears will just go. They'll smell a sow in heat from 5, 6, 8 miles away.
He was like, me too.
Till they find her.
I don't know if I want to kill those guys now.
Good for you, brother. Boom.
You want me to make it easier?
You gotta respect the hustle, you know.
You want me to make it easier? They kill the children on the way.
Yeah, that's true.
They're cannibalistic.
Yeah,
And they don't like if they find a sow
If
with
it's not
cubs,
theirs,
they kill the cubs.
It'll force the female into heat sooner.
Yep.
So they'll kill the young ones to
That
force
is-
the female
That
into
is
heat.
exactly correct. And basically to preserve his genes. Like
Yep.
he wants his genes passed on, not
Not whoever else.
Yep.
That is
So he'll kill.
that's survival of the fittest, if I've ever heard.
That's what sows spend a lot of their time doing in the spring and in the rut is they don't want to be anywhere near a boar. In fact, a lot of times when you're on a bait, you'll know when there's a big boar that shows up, even if you can't see him, because if you got a sow with cubs on the bait and a big boar starts kicking around, that sow will freak. And a lot of times
Dude's gone.
she'll leave, she'll grab the cub, she'll send the cubs up a tree, whatever. I mean, because that's like her whole thing in life at that time of year is to protect those cubs from getting killed by a big boar. So
Well, we're gonna help him out and fucking sniper one of those fucking things.
perfect.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All right, so
Yeah, Ben,
getting
we're going to
close
wrap it
the-
up, man. Appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, this ain't gonna be the last time, Ben. There's gonna be more fucking stories we're gonna do. Hopefully,
I appreciate it.
So-
This
We'll
is
talk
fun.
about dicks again another time.
No, let's talk about
Right,
something else.
anytime. I'm open to it all the time.
He's open all the time for dick.
John just
Yep.
popped up like, I'm clipping that. I already knew he was going to. I already knew it was going to happen. I'm not worried.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys.
Well, hold on. Let's Ben, tell everybody listening where they can get into your content and find you.
At Bad Company Outdoors Official on Instagram and Facebook. The YouTube channel is not up yet. We do have a website, www.badcompanyoutdoors.com. There's some apparel on there. We are actually in the middle of switching print-on-demand companies right now. So the website is down. But hopefully by May 1st, that will be all redone and taken care of. Lots of kids stuff on there. Just kind of helps support what we do. I'm going to start a blog on that webpage, which I'm actually hoping to incorporate lots of people from lots of different companies writing,
Perfect.
putting blog posts on there all the time. And then my goal with the content on YouTube is we'll create the channel and July 1st I should have content rolling from all this bear hunting stuff, and so you boys will be a part of that too. Hopefully,
yeah, man.
that'd be good. But July 1st is the goal. Yep, at Bad Company Outdoors Official. Look us up. Facebook, Instagram. We try and keep it busy, but I'm really getting my ass kicked right now. It's hard to keep up. So
I bet.
It happens.
but I appreciate it. Thanks for the
Yeah,
opportunity.
any questions
and-
that come up or whatever, we'll get them to you, whoever.
yeah. Yep. Let me know. I'll answer any questions I can and help anybody. So
Okay, appreciate
Thanks,
it, man.
guys.
Thanks for being
you.
on.
All right.
Oh, shit.